Hello there and welcome to another edition of Rules Unveiled. This time we're going to have a look at Extreme Warriors Season 2 Grand Final. I hope you enjoy. When entering the arena for the title battle of Season 2, Panzer Mark IV was introduced as Tricerabot and vice versa. With 9 wins and only 1 loss, Panzer Mark has the strongest win-loss ratio out of all robots that occurred any combat losses, with a positive ratio of 90% victories, ahead of TR2's 88.8% by virtue of having 1 more combat win. If the two versions of the robots are considered separately, Panzer Mark II holds a 3-1 record, while Panzer Mark IV holds an undefeated 6-0 record. Panzer Mark was the only one of 4 semi-finalists in the first US Championship to reach the grand final of the second. The other 3 semi-finalists all returned for Season 2, but all lost in the heats. In 2003, the entire Panzer Mark series was inducted into the Robot Combat Hall of Fame as an inaugural collective member. Reasons for the robot selection included its incarnations in individual successes in Robots Extreme Warriors, Robotica and BattleBots as Wraith, as well as the speed, power and versatility of the 6-wheeled drivetrain. Panzer Mark IV was the only American robot to appear in all versions of Robots Extreme Destruction. Following its Season 2 battle against Panzer Mark IV, Destructive Criticism ultimately lost to the team who lent it its spinning weapon, having lent Destructive Criticism's team the flywheel during BattleBots. Conquering Clown continued fighting for a few years after the show ended, and then returned in 2023 in BattleBots, being the only competitor still fighting to this very day. In 2003, Tricerabot received an honorable mention in the Robot Combat Hall of Fame in recognition of its Season 2 performance as Tricerabot 3.0 and its performances in Robotica as Juggernaut. The Extreme Warriors Season 2 Grand Final between Panzer Mark IV and Tricerabot 3.0 was a rematch of the Robotica Season 3 final fight to the finish. Panzer Mark won both times to become champion. Rocky Bot Bo was the most successful competitor in any series of Robots to use a chainsaw. And that is it for today. Extreme Warriors Season 2's Grand Final it's an okay grand final. There's nothing really spectacular about it. It's not, something that's grand or epic in any sense of the word. It's, dare I say, quite run-of-the-mill. You kind of expect what's going to win, what's not going to win. A lot of the fights are very, okay, we've seen this fight before with another robot. It's not the most impressive grand final in the world, not the one that's going to catch your eye the most. It's just a very okay grand final, I guess is the best way to describe it. Compared to a lot of other grand finals, this one just is very okay-ish. It's, very solely in the middle. If you were to rank all the grand finals of every Robot Wars ever, this one would be very much in the middle, at least on the lower end, because it is just so okay. I think that is the best way to describe it. Panzer Mark IV is a very pretty looking robot, and it's a very great looking robot, even if it can't itself right. And of course, this grand final is unique in the sense that it's the first time we see a joke bot, in the sense of Conquering Clown being in the grand final and actually doing quite well until it obviously loses. It is unique in that aspect. We never saw a joke bot reach such a high position before. And it really goes to show that, some of these joke bots are a lot more powerful than they might appear. Conquering Clown is definitely one such example. Overall, this is just an okay episode. There's nothing to write home about, nothing that I really want to say, oh, this is so amazing in every sense of the word. This is just an okay episode. That's really about it. Panzer, yay, it won again. There you go. It was rambots mostly in this final. And, whilst I don't hate rambots, I do think, there is the argument that could be said that, when there's too many of them in one arena, it can get a little bit tedious. You do want some diversity, and you don't really get that here. It's either rambots or spinners. That's about it. But of course, it does go to show, what was the most powerful type of robot back in the day, and one could argue it still is that case to this very day. Either way, this is a very okay-ish grand final, nothing to write home about. So let's have a look at what we're going to get next time around. From one Extreme 2 to the other Extreme 2. This is Extreme 2, the UK Extreme 2. Then particularly the Iron Maiden's up next, which will be quite interesting because this is where the girls fight back. Whether or not this succeeded as an episode idea, well, you'll have to find out when I do the review for it in the next episode of Rules Unveiled. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Rules Unveiled, and I'll see you next time.